Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to the League of Europe. We are here for round number 13 of the Red Bull Ring around Austria. My name is Jake. I'll taking you guys through this as always. Joined alongside me, as always, for this evening is Mr. QVR Verstappen. Yeah, how are you doing this evening?
Hello everyone, indeed. Welcome to Division 2 here at Austria. I'm doing well, and looking forward to this. You guys have already started qualifying and on the way at this very short track.
Certainly is a very short track indeed. I think the shortest is on the calendar, obviously other than when they ran it around the outer ring of Bahrain in 2020. Obviously just trying to fill up a few races within COVID. But yeah, as I said, we're in round number 13 of Austria. We're getting now towards the latter stages to the end of the season, and in case you guys aren't aware of who is where within the championship, I will quickly just read that out to you whilst we're watching. Ren's just completing his lap as well. So Mr. QVR Killer on top with 175 points to his name after taking a win last week at Belgium. Rickerick is in second with 141 points, taking second last week as well out in Belgium. Darry in third, getting overtaken by Rick as well. It was on 139 points, so still to play for those top three. Top four I would actually say, because Luke is in fourth with 131 points to his name. So yeah, those top four all still work very well within it. MLE Creco in fifth with 113 points. His fourth non-start in a row for the Mercedes driver. So he's kind of putting himself out of championship contention just by not showing up alone. In sixth is Ariel Slash on 107 points. QVR Benjes in seventh. ERT Larkin in eighth. Ariel Felipe, or Ariel Nolan as everyone knows him as, in ninth. And Bunty is rounding out the top 10 in the points with 49 points to his name as well. So yeah, as I said, we're just already into the qualifying stages of the race, or of round number 13 so far. And, well, first man putting it on the board is, of course, our championship leader, Mr. QVR Killer, at 104.860. Yeah.
Yeah, it's alright time. I've got an information that the race is going to be a full web race, so it could be very interesting. Then towards the race, we'll see. And if people, just as I said, as we saw, well, you didn't really see, but when we loaded into the lobby, it took about a minute before people actually went out on track. So they were definitely considering and contemplating what to do with the setup. It was quite difficult to do. Watching Hume, I think, just about to start the lap. Unless timing is a glitch. No, it's just going up for another one as he might have invalidated, which is a very easy thing to do. Kill his teammate Larkin goes into P2, and Evans is into P3, quite a way behind though the Aston Martin. A few more cars coming across the line also to start their laps. I think just one other Ripple's coming towards the end of the lap. The IRT Darry Dias, DRS is open. Let's see whether Ripple can get himself. Only 105.6. I think we should see a full round of 4.5 or ish. 4.4 maybe. So that's my prediction for now.
Yeah, no, I mean, if we're going off of what the times we were within the Division 1 earlier on this evening, then yeah, I would say around 4.5, maybe 4.4 would be sort of around pole position for Division 2. Obviously, as I said, it's a very fast track, and as I said, I think one of the shortest ones on the calendar anyway, so a lot of the times are going to be very congested with each other. As you can see, Mr. ERT Larkin has made it a McLaren 1-2 with a 104.980, but I'm expecting a few people to slot in between that because of how short this track is, if anyone is unaware of the Red Bull Ring, as Doom on top with a 104.4. Wow. Well, we said that was going to be pole for this evening. We wasn't expecting this to be a banker lap, so I think Doom is pretty much just, well, he's already put on that pole position that we expected. Slash has gone into second with a 104.6. I think AJ Wuhan's done a 5.0. Brent put in a 5.5, as well as Marcio a 5.4, and Reza Fight a 5.3 as well. So again, it's very congested out on track. There's only 5 people sat in the pits at the moment, and there's only I think there's 12 minutes left to go. Only half of the people have got a valid lap in at the moment.
Yeah, it's very easy to track and validate, as I said. Turn 1, it's definitely already a one you can invalidate. Although this game with the more deadly curves, you may want to stay away a little bit there, especially the last 2 corners. Even though they've been track limited out of those 2 as well, the game itself, if you're not very tight with it, then you could easily invalidate there as well. And for the end of, the beginning of sector 3 as well, for that little left-right turn 7 and turn 8, it's just very easy to do. Speaking of the front, Rick puts himself into P3, 104.6 is a very decent time. I know he's been on form recently, but I'm looking mostly towards Slash to do well here. Although the rain can throw off everything. But I know Slash is a huge fan of this track, and I think he'll probably deliver to that promise if all goes to plan.
Certainly can. I know Nolan's quite a big fan of this track as well. Timon was, talking his talk earlier, saying that he was almost in the threes, which is what Division 1 pole position would have been if you get in the threes. I mean, you took it yourself in Division 1 earlier this evening. So, yeah, if it gets in the threes, then I think there might have to be some questions about someone being in this tier. But regardless, I'm right on board with Nolan as he's just making his way around the final corner now to finish his lap. It's going to be a 104, 104.8 up into P4, 1,000th up ahead of our championship leader, of Mr. QVR Killer. But he's actually coming across the line to finish his second lap now. And sorry, in fact, start his lap. I think it was just that timing glitch once again. So, yeah, he's going to be starting his second lap now with just 10 minutes left to go. June currently out on top by just over a tenth of a second, but I expect a few more guys to be bringing those times down. Ben JS did invalidate on his time, as I said. Timon as well is going on for his proper lap now as well. So it's that, you know what? In fact, I was going to say we'll stick on board with him. Bunty's just come across the line, so he's 7 dead with Renz with a 112.1. So yeah, we'll go on board with Timon because as I said, he was talking his talk earlier on. We'll see if he's able to get himself into the 103s, like he was saying earlier. Only 2 more corners left to go for the Alfa Romeo man and see if he's able to convert that one. It goes very wide out of the second to last corner and out of the final corner. Somehow keeps it valid between the both of them. There's only a 5.597 for Timon. So, yeah, I said he talked his talk. Unfortunately, he couldn't walk that walk. So, yeah, he's down in P13 at this present moment.
I think normally you'd expect Austria, it's going to be tight gaps and everything. That's not the case right now. And I think that's a result of some people actually using some sort of wet setup. I don't think everyone's running on a very dry setup. I was on board with Bunty, and it didn't even look like he was making many mistakes, but look how far he is behind. I think he's gone very high wings and gambles on something here. I could be wrong, but we'll have to see about that. Just looking around to see if anyone's on the lap. I see Renz coming across the line, 5.2 into P8. One of the Alpha Terrorists is actually just about to cross the line, but didn't think... It's actually June starting on a lap, I think, as he just spins there. Out of turn 1, curb can be very deadly on the inside, so he just felt that. I think Evans went up into P6 as well.
Yeah, he certainly did, and Rex is just coming across the line now himself. I think just to actually start his lap again. Not sure why that's glitched with that Reservoir. I believe also just coming across the line to start his second lap as well. I said if it's going to be, yeah, Dari coming across the line at 5.2 dead, as well as Marcio at 4.9. So we're now starting to see a lot more of these times dropping in. A lot more people are starting to get used to their reasonably wet setups as Rick coming across the line, I think, to also start his second lap as well. As Hope, I believe, also, in fact, actually, he's coming into the pits, so Hope isn't going to be getting a lap on the board just at this present moment. So we'll run on board. We'll go on board with our current pole man of Doom, as RJ has retired from the session. Is that in the pits?
NJS as well.
Both of the Williams.
Which I'm not so sure what's happened there. So, I've seen AJ Wuhan has been up into P3 at least, and he'll be happy with that. He's going good pace ever since he returned to Division 2 here, and you know, he could be up for it as well today. We'll have to see. Yeah, I'm very interested in what happened with the Williams there.
Yeah, I'm not too sure what's going on with that. Ariel Slash just coming across the line to do it now. I think it would be his second run of a time. June's also just up ahead of him, gone through turn 3 now, so he's just doing his second run as well. As I said, both of the Hasses have done their second run. Around on this track as well, you can do 2 runs on these tyres, just because sometimes they won't actually be heated up enough. As Rick goes into P2 with a 104.5, so Killer may need to start trying to edge that a bit higher. Obviously, if it is going to, as I said, if it's the full wet throughout the entire race, or if it's just intermediates, despite it anyway, he will need to try and make some moves up, because it's not very easy overtaking in the wet, especially considering there was not going to be any DRS whatsoever. If it is fully wet, as Slash invalidates on his lap going through, I believe that is turn number 5. So yeah, very unfortunate for Slash. He's going to have to just make his way straight into the pits with 6 minutes left to go. Of course, there's plenty of time to get out. You probably even do 2 runs if you're quick enough with that. There's definitely plenty of time to get another run done on the board, so we'll see what Slash is able to be capable of. But a few other guys just now starting on their laps as well. Ariel Felipe, just right on board with him.
Yeah, he is just about to come down towards turn 1, break around the 50, just tapping the curb on the inside, and DRS open for the second time, of course. Might not be in the wet, we'll have to see if it actually promises to be through. And now down through turn 2, sector 2, sector 1 split, 16-1, not too bad. Through turn 3, difficult traction zone after this, shown by the AlphaTauri. Got to get down another DRS, another overtaking opportunity down towards turn 4, now downhill braking zone, not the easiest of all. But he does do it nicely, clapping the curb a little bit too much, I'd say, but not too bad for the King of 5 now, and now down towards turn 6. You want to be patient here on the floor, don't get out too wide too early. Let's see, he is just down in his time, so we'll have to see if we see him finishing his lap. As a Killer has improved to P5, didn't know if that was mentioned or not, but now down towards turn 9 and 10. A lot of curve on the entry there, let's see, just run out wide and has the back of his lap, takes the escape road into the pits there. Just about managed to stay out of the wall. Marcia's just in behind, 45.4, and he gets basically an equal time to what he already had. Doesn't improve it, I don't think, but I think it was 1,000 slower.
Yeah, certainly was, and then just has a nice little spin out of the first turn as well. So I think both of the Red Bulls are just starting a lap or finishing their lap as Toad goes up ahead of his MLE compadre by 4 thousandths of a second, a 104.903. Hyman goes up into P9 now with a 104.921. Both of the McLarens, one of the McLarens, sorry, are coming to finish their lap. I believe that is Mr. QVR Killer, who has actually, I think he improved on his lap, but it wasn't enough to actually jump up ahead of anybody. So a 104.7 for our championship leader. Again, he's not having a very good time. Even his teammate ERT Larkin is up ahead of him at 104.6. And then going, well, I'm going to stick on board with him because I feel like he's going for another lap despite using his ERS.
No, I think I don't know what exactly was the plan there. There was some sort of teamwork going on between the McLarens, but at least Larkin managed to finish his lap. He got into P5. Killer didn't. I think that was an out lap he was on. Not too sure though, but yeah, he is just returning to the pits, I reckon.
That's fine. Carry on, just give me 2 seconds.
Yeah, just looking around. If there's anyone on a lap, the McLarens obviously we've just shown why they're not. I think Slash and AJ Wuhan. AJ Wuhan not, but Slash is still on the lap. No, he's just backed off. He goes into 8th gear there, and doesn't actually manage to improve in any sort of way. Bit of a dull point is, yeah, everyone's just gearing up for the final round. Be very busy and congested on the track, as Jack mentioned earlier, and very difficult to find some clean air because obviously 64 seconds is not a lot of time to space out. You have a car every give or take 4 seconds, even less than that if you have all 17 cars on track. As you see, it's Ariel Felipe is just about to start a lap, and he is just coming. Actually, AJ Wuhan I think is a bit further on. He's just come through turn 1, so might go on board myself with him when Jack gets back. He might be able to go on board as well. 61 slightly down on this time actually, doesn't use any entry curve into turn 3, bit of a moment out of turn 3, and just about has to struggle, but I think he's backed off his lap, so go for Ariel Felipe now in behind. Bit of a cleaner exit this time out. Let's see if he can improve throughout the rest of the lap down towards turn 4. He's going to be late on the brakes here, so he doesn't do that. Nice apex actually taken there by the AlphaTauri through turn 5. Easily run, setting it up for 6. A lot of speed through. Decent. Just be careful not to invalidate. He's slightly up. Says it's purple. I'll have to see if that is proven to be true. 7 and 8 looks fairly clean as well. And down towards turn 9 and 10 for AlphaTauri. Let's see. Keeps it a lot cleaner than last time out. Keeps it on track. And now for the last corner, let's see if he can get himself as AJ Wuhan has retired in the pits. Ariel Felipe across the line. Gets himself to P3. Good lap time for the AlphaTauri driver. I'm just looking through if anyone else is on any sort of lap. Marcio just about to start. I think Rick is actually on the lap. 44.9 is actually very quick. but actually I think that is a place lap time once again. I do apologize. RT Rex coming up to the line doesn't seem to improve much. If he even did, I think he might have just started on a lap. Bunty just about to start on a lap as well. I think the most of these guys are doing just that.
Yeah, apologies for that. I'm back.
No worries there. So Ariel Felipe going up to P3, that's mostly the case, and AJ was at a session as he failed to improve on his lap time. But yeah, the AlphaTauri within a 10th of his teammates, not too bad.
Yeah, certainly is. No improvements really from Jim since the start of that start of his laps. So yeah, I'll be surprised if the Spaniards. Well, he's going for his final run now, so we'll see if he's able to improve. I think Nolan's also going for his final run as well. Rick, I think, has just come across the line to do his final run. No,
that's
he hasn't.
Marcio. That's Marcio. Rick is just about to finish the line as the flag is out. He's slightly down as Simon. He's not managed to improve. Stays in P2. Rex in behind, only 15 for him. Let's see, Bunty's the next one. He's 8 tenths up, but we do expect that for the 107 he's set so far. Yeah, 106.3, not too quick. I think FER Simon is the next one across the line, 10th up. Into P7 he goes. One of the Ripples in behind Soap. He's backed off actually of his lap. That's made a mistake. Brent across the line, not improving there. A few other cars, Resify and Brent's just going ahead of him. And then Larkin goes into 5th.
Yeah, he has as well. Slash as well, just coming across the line to finish his final run as well. And 104.5 up in the 3rd, just up ahead of Nolan. But Nolan, as I said, going very wide out of the second to last corner, so he's not going to have a valid lap from that. Doom as well, no valid lap from that. But I don't really think it matters that much. Marcio is the only one that can sort of beat him, but he's invalidated on his time. So Doom putting in an absolute banker and has just nailed pole position just from one lap alone. I mean, we said it'd be a 104.4. We started doubting ourselves, but it happened in the end, just from a banker lap, which I was not expecting.
Yeah, very good banker by the Spaniards, and bit of a surprise to see up there, but also not, because at the end of the day, Jim, he is a bit of a fully beast. Let's see if he can actually convert something to the race this time, and he tends to fail to do that. You're just gonna run you through the grid just now. Jim on pole ahead of Rick in 2nd. I don't think Kell will be very happy with that, looking as he's down in 8th. Slash and Felipe on the 2nd row with Larkin and AJ Wuhan in behind in 5th and 6th. And it's Simon and Killer in 7th and 8th. And Taupe and Marcio in 9th and 10th. Then it's Evans in 11th, Darry in 12th, Rent in 13th, Recify in 14th, low RT, low group there. And then Brent's in the middle of that, he's in 15th, and then Rex is in 16th. So all of RT drivers just having to maybe make their way through later on. Then it's Bunty in 17th, and the 2 Williams in 18th and 19th, which I'm still not too sure what happens. I'll have a look at the chat if there's anything there, but yeah, very peculiar incident that.
Yeah, I don't think they've said anything in the Discord. I could be completely wrong, but yeah, no, they haven't said anything, so I've absolutely no idea why they retire from session. In fact, I'm just going to them really quickly, just to see why they did. Yeah, that was a very strange one. But yeah, I mean, Doom on pole in a wet race as well. This could be very, very fun, to say the least. Is it going to be wet tyres though, or is it going to be intermediates? From the looks of things, it's looking like it's looking inters, but that doesn't look like that's slowing down. In fact, it could potentially be on the cusp of wets to inters. The rain isn't obviously, as I said, coming down as hard as what it would be for wet, but there is always that chance it could get heavier. There's always a chance it could get lighter, and we've even seen instances before where it's dry tyres in the wet, which was, I think, the case for last week as well in Spa. So, yeah, I mean, anything can happen with this. Who knows?
Yeah, definitely. And showing in the Haas garage. This inter tires there, so I think we'll start on those. It could go for it. It could maybe also dry up. Who knows? This is approximate weather, so we kind of have to see. The formation line. We'll just start with Jim in front, obviously, just to confirm. Yes, everyone is on inters, so no surprises there. And it'll be very interesting to see how the things change here, because in the wet, it's a completely different game.
Yeah, no, it certainly is. I don't know how this is going to go down with how this race is going to go. I don't know if it's going to be a case that Doom could take the win on this. I don't know if Rick's going to be able to nail him at the start. I know Rick is very good in the wet. So if I'm a gambling man, I'd have to put my money on Rick. Larkin, I know, is very good in the wet. I'm just trying to think of who else is pretty decent in like wet conditions. Timon, I think he's usually known for being pretty decent in the wet as well. Championship leader, Mr. QVR Killer. I think he's a bit on the fence with it being a wet weather or not. So I don't know. The two that I'm looking at are definitely the two at the back, Ben JS and RJ. As I said, they're both. For some reason, I still haven't gotten an answer. Both retiring at the start of qualifying, and I know what Ben is capable of, and I know what RJ is capable of in these wet conditions. So as I said, if I would put my money on who I think's winning, though, I think it's a good chance that I'm looking at the man in P2, Mr. Rickerick, to take the win for tonight, in my opinion.
Yeah, he'd be my pick as well. And I'll have to see if anyone proves wrong. I think Larkin is one to look out for as well. It's always in the wet. Yeah. So there's always a chance of him doing well.
Yeah, certainly. As Jav in the chat is all saying Rick, Larkin, Timon as his top three. So yeah, I said all the wet weather merchants, as people would be saying. We'll see if they're able to, come through with the goods on that. But just waiting for everyone to line up on the start, and then we can get this race straight underway. We'll see if June's able to have a good start, and if Rick's able to have a good start off of that front row. Someone behind them is able to. It doesn't help that Rick ended up disqualifying, so he'll be a little bit further back than what he'd be hoping for. But we've got the 5 red lights now for round number 13 of season 8, and the lights are out. And away they go, and Slash actually having a very good start in comparison to the top two. In fact, already squeezing past the both of them, and Slash already into the lead of the race. Rick is going to go past June as well down the inside in towards turn number 1. Get a very bad camera angle for it, but yeah, Rick manages to hold that position. Larkin gets past Nolan as well, and now up into 4th, and potentially past the other AlphaTauri as well. Timon up into P6, and potentially looking at a move on Nolan as well. Now down in towards turn number 3. This is where things can cause a lot of havoc, but it's looking very clean so far throughout the field, and it's looking like Larkin's gone around the outside and gotten a move done on June up into 3rd position already. As you said, they're the wet specialists, and they have done a stellar job at the start. And here we go, Timon as well, trying to go down the inside of June. Our pole sitter already down into June's and full, trying to go past Nolan, as in fact Timon and Nolan have a bit of a collision with each other, and Timon was just pushed into the wall. I don't know if he picked up any damage from that, but he's down now. Now down into P9. Killer also dropping down into P10 as Marcio dropping down the field.
Yeah, Lowe's finish in the back out of turn 4. A bit of an incident between Renz and Bunty as Brent is out of the race. Coming out of turn 7 and 8. See, and we get a full score safety car for that. And that will bring a bit of calm to the KLX starters. I think Timon is actually in the pit, maybe picked up some sort of damage. But yeah, there's a bit of an incident between Bunty and Renz. I think they just collided through turn 4 and 5. Important to see. And a bit later, which I didn't see, Daria and Marcia both Renz as well. But yeah, Slash with that phenomenal start. He'll be very happy with that. He was the second clear out before the safety car even came out. So amazing start there. Let's see if he can keep that momentum going.
Yeah, that was a wild start from Slash. Again, it was absolutely insane. Just the traction he got out, that was ridiculous. Excuse me. Timon didn't end up changing his wing, so I don't know if he did actually pick up any wing damage. And if he did, and he hasn't changed it, it means he's more than likely we're going to see him back into the pits at the end of the lap, which means he's going to drop back behind his teammate and Bunty as well. I'll say he definitely will, but it's only a potential from the looks of things. But they're all going to be under Delta anyway. Slash, like I said, amazing start. Larkin as well, following suit with that. Rick's managed to maintain that P2. However, if it wasn't for Slash, he would be leading the race so far. June not had a good start whatsoever in these wet conditions, or the intermediate conditions, sorry. AJ Wuhan also dropping down into P7. Tope going up to 6th as well. Not a bad start, but our championship leader, QVR Killer, has not had a good start whatsoever. He started in 8th and dropped down into 9th. Evans, Tope, both making up 3 positions at the start. Rex, Ben JS and RJ. Told you, the 2 Williams, got to keep an eye out on them. They've had a very good start, and they're in 12th and 13th respectively as well. Obviously, the rest of the guys that are behind them, well, ones that did crash, but still, they've managed to keep their noses clean and getting themselves up in the grid as well.
Yeah, definitely. Could have just been a strategy, who knows, just stay out of the trouble and make your way through that way. We've watched a lot of D1 and D3. The no, the Carnage might work as well. Both Alfa Romeos are pitting again. Guessing they just want fresher tires. I'm not too sure. A bit odd there. It'll be interesting to see. Is a Killer not having the greatest start? I know he's not a fan of this track in the dry. I'm not too sure in the wet. But yeah, it doesn't look like he's had the greatest of start. But it's a good thing for him though, is as Larkin's up with Rick and Slash and might be able to prevent a few points there. We'll have to see if Larkin actually has the pace to do that though.
Certainly can. Certainly see if he is able to do so. Jav just asking chat if Killer can win it today. As not familiar with standings, no, he is not going to be able to win it today. He's on 175 points. Rick is in second with 141. So if anything, Rick could be massively gaining on Killer if it ends up finishing the way that it is at the moment. Of course, there isn't going to be any DRS at all, as I said, within this race. So there is a high chance we could be seeing Rick actually gain onto Killer for the remainder of this race as well, and for the remainder of this season. Of course, after this week, it is a break week for next week, and then when we come back, we're back over at Spain. So there is a chance we could see Rick catch up to Killer. He's 34 points behind him. So just with that, how it's going at the moment, I mean, he at least gains what? Killer gets 4, Rick gets 18, so that's 14 points already gaining on him. That's 20 under, which means that Killer is no longer a race win ahead of Rick. Again, if it finishes the way that it is, but it's only lap 4, so anything can still really happen. But yeah, at the moment, Rick is definitely going to be making massive gains on Killer within this championship. As you were saying as well before, both of the Alfa Romeos making another pit stop. You think it was for fresher tyres? No, for some reason, the both of them, not just one Alfa Romeo, but the both of them forgot to change their wing. So they both came back in and both changed their wing, which is why Renz is miles behind the safety car, and there might even be a chance that we may not see the safety car come in at the end of this lap, and we might even see it come in at the end of the next lap on lap number 5. I don't think Renz is actually going to be close enough to catching up, so yeah. And the safety car at least for one more lap, but I don't think Slash is really going to be complaining because he's the one that's leading it at the moment, so you know, just doing obviously what he can at the front of the grid so far.
Yeah, there's no way he's going to be complaining about that currently. He's just going to, you know, the more safety car laps, the less he actually has to drive himself. So, you know, the advantage there. Let's see if he can keep Rick behind after the safety car though. Yeah, this is obviously going to be an interesting one to see what they've done with the setup, because normally when you go for a wet weather setup, you go for a lot more downforce, but that might prevent you from actually being able to overtake people around you. There's not that wet in track, so don't know if we are going to dry or that it's just well, part of the track is not too, but it's not looking horrible currently, so maybe there's not too much issues currently for the drivers either way. You have to see if they are able to overtake, because that's obviously one of the key things. Is that Bunty's getting a 5-second plate about a 5-second penalty for a collision with Marcio, and I think Marcio got the same thing. So that's very peculiar.
Yeah, I see Bunty has got front left end plate damage as well, and safety car is going to be in at the end of this lap regardless. So yeah, Bunty's definitely at a disadvantage now. I don't know whether Marcio just broke too hard or what, but well, if Bunty just didn't react to him in time, I have absolutely no idea what had happened with that. But safety car is in at the end of this lap, as you've seen it say at the top of your screens, and we'll run on board with this man Ariel Slasher to see how he's going to do his restart. Is he going to try to go early? He's going to try and go as late as possible. Probably best so that those intermediates can warm up would be to go as early as possible, and you can see how much he is backed up behind that safety car. So yeah, we'll see when Slash is able to go, if it's going to be out of even the second to last corner, which we saw quite a few times. In fact, it's before the second to last corner. Slash has already gone and has done a very good job of keeping Rick at arm's length, and in fact, if anything, Larkin's been dropped more than what Rick has been dropped from Slash. So yeah, very good restart from Slash, and Bunty making his way, I believe, into the pits now, so he's now going to be getting his front wing changed. Probably wish that he didn't do that until, or at least the lap before, he would have done that so that he could still be within this the long train from that safety car restart. But they're all sort of lining up in single file at the moment. I think the one that's closest is Ben JS, closing up to the back of IRT Reza fight as well. Let's see if he's able to get a move done. The same with AJ Wuhan on Tope, but I think it's all just going to be sort of filtering through, as I said, up in towards turn number 3. I don't think anyone's going to try any sort of daring moves or anything like that. I said all just sort of filtering through at the moment, and our championship leader is looking to try and go for a pounce on Evans up into P8. Let's see if he's able to go for that move. He's looking down the inside. He's going to dive it down the inside of the Aston Martin. They're both side by side. A little bit of contact between the pair of them. They're still both side by side, getting a very nice helicopter shot of this one. Killer's going to be on the outside. Evans will have the inside for turn number 5. A little bit of contact between the pair of them. Is Evans going to be able to hold this position? Killer's still going to try and fight this one, but Evans, I think, has managed to get that move, or keep that move done in the bag. So very nicely done from Evans to keep that position. Very good defense from him indeed, but Killer, I don't think he's going to be done. I think next lap we might be seeing McLaren try something a bit different and try and go for another move on that. But at the moment, Slash is doing very well to keep onto the race lead, already dropping Doom those top 3 1 second out of their or 1 second behind them as well. As all that's in fact Hyman spinning out of the final corner. And yet another safety car. So this is already a very good start to Division 2.
Yeah, we're just going to be watching the safety car go around for God knows how long till it can't anymore. Yeah, Simon just losing out the final corner and traction just messing up. That'll be interesting to see if this weather is just going to hold. These inters are very likely not going to the end. Of course, with the rain conditions, you don't have to actually make a pit stop if you don't want to. I mean, if the tires are going to puncture, then there might be an issue in trying to do that. So, I don't know, I think it's a bit too early to actually think they might now go to the end if you pit now, but then again, I don't know about that either. So, it'll be very interesting to see the tire calls in that as well, see if anyone actually decides to pit. If you're someone like Renz or Dari or RK maybe, then you might be able to pit currently and get away without much damage. We'll have to see who does come in, who doesn't. Doesn't look like anyone at the front anyway comes in, and look, they all just be filtering through. I think it's just slightly too early to actually think about that.
As you were saying that, I think Dari's actually making his way into the pits. I saw him pull off over to the right hand side. So yeah, the German is making his way into the pits and sitting P3 in the championship. He wants to try and go for a bit of an undercut on the rest of these guys, and I suppose what better time to do it than behind the safety car. So Dari, I think, could be in a pretty decent position. It's trying to get those intermediates to the end though is going to be an absolute challenge for him. If he can do it, fair play. I think that's just worked out perfectly for him. But 28 laps on a set of the intermediate tyres, I think Dari could be a bit in trouble towards the end of the race. However, obviously, there's no other safety car. I'm sure Dari will be absolutely laughing as long as he doesn't get caught up in any sort of instance. I think what Dari needs to do is just try and just do his best with just not trying to get himself involved in an incident. Just sit back and wait. I know it's not what Dari would probably want to do, but in the long run, it's better for him to just sort of sit back, wait, let everybody else just do whatever they want to do up in front. Obviously, go for moves when you can, but not try and get too aggressive on it, because otherwise those tyres are going to just get burnt out. And not only that, you could get involved in an incident yourself, cause another safety car, which then is, well, that's pretty much just hindered your strategy. So I think the best thing for Dari, definitely just try and, ease up towards the middle until the end of the race if he can, just so at least then he's in a bit more of a prime position to potentially take the win tonight and potentially move himself back up to closer to Killer in the championship.
I think he's going to actually hope for the safety cars to come out, because obviously you can serve your tyres that way, and he is still in range as of right now, obviously for the safety car, that say anyone in the top 5 would pick, he would probably still be a hit, even though the guys behind would have better tyres, but in the wet it's quite a bit more difficult to overtake, so I don't know, this could pay out very well for the Red Bull, but it could also become a complete dramatic strategy. Obviously we don't really know how heavy the wear is on these inters, so it'll be very, very interesting if it's going to actually be a close call. Maybe these inters can actually go the entire race, we'll have to see.
Yeah. Again, it's. I think it is the only time we're going to actually see it is when it comes towards the end of the race. As I said, if it does dry up though, then Dari's pretty much messed up his strategy completely. So, Yeah, I think all Darry's got to hope for is that it stays as intermediate conditions throughout the entirety of this race. Otherwise, even if it tries to go wet, then that's still going to mess up Darry's strategy. He's just got to hope it stays this kind of weather throughout the rest of this race, and to the point where there's no safety cars either. Because then, well, I mean, even though there's a safety car, he'll still come out in front of them, but then he'll be on much worse tyres in comparison. So I think he's just got to hope there's no more safety cars. The weather doesn't change, it just stays the way that it is at the moment. So we'll see if Slash is able to do the same sort of getaway as what he did on Rick on the first safety car restart, which only happened about 3 laps ago. We'll see if Slash is able to do the same thing. He's got it at the exact same time. Rick still, for some reason, hasn't read it properly and has dropped back a little bit more. And Larkin, once again, has read that very nicely indeed. In fact, June dropping it out of the second to last corner.
Yeah, she's completely lost the car there. There's Bunty in behind as well as Donetz. Don't know how he ended up there, but yeah, he's off as well. So 2 cars on the restart, not enjoying their time. Maybe 2 cold tires, I'm not too sure. Renz is fighting with RJ through turn 1. That's not going to go too well. Single file corner, and Darry is looking to get involved as well. He's trying to make it free white down the inside, down towards turn 3. A little bit of contact here and there. Looks like RJ's out of the picture here, but Darry is trying to get past Renz, gets a bit squeezed towards the apex and can't really get through. And Darry is up into 13th, gets 1 position, but not the other one he might have wanted to. Anytime we have, because of Jim spinning, a little bit of a gap between P3 and P4, let's see if we can actually try and close this up.
Yeah, we'll see if Nolan's able to do just that as well. Renz with that battling with RJ as well, dropping him further back in the field. In fact, RJ could be losing a position out to Marcio as well. I don't know if RJ's actually got any sort of damage, because he was about 1.5 behind, I think it was Ben, his teammate. And it's saying that Renz actually picks up the first 3-second time penalty. But yeah, RJ was about 1.5 seconds behind his teammate, just leading up in towards turn 1. So I don't know if he made a mistake, don't know if he picked up any sort of damage or what. But yeah, RJ really struggled on that safety car restart. A little bit further up in front, Evans is looking to try and see if he can maybe go for a move on AJ Wuhan, and AJ Wuhan looking to see if he can go for a move on the Red Bull up in front. So Tope just starting to create a little bit of a train on his own, which could be quite interesting. And as I was saying that, in fact, Larkin, yeah, trying to go around the outside of Rick in towards turn number 3. Rick's going to hold the inside. Larkin going to try go for a bit of a switchback on the outside. He's going to get the better traction out of that corner as well, and he's going to use a bit of his ERS to make sure he can get that move done. Larkin down the inside, Rick on the outside, both using the ERS to try and see who's going to be the one that comes out on top. Rick goes very deep in towards turn number 4. Bit of lock up from Rick, but he managed to get that stuck in the end. Larkin couldn't have an answer for that. What a defence that was from Rick. Very good battling between the pair of them. Larkin, in fact, going a little bit too deep in towards turn 5 as well. So, yeah, Rick, very good defensive manoeuvre from him. But that's dropped in 1.5 seconds now behind Slash. Slash has just raced off into the wind.
Yeah, great defensive move by Rick there. I didn't think he had any chance then into the break, but it looked like he did have. Meanwhile, looking at Darry and Renz, who've been side by side for both left-handers here. Yeah, a little bit of contact down towards turn 9. Darry getting back alongside on the inside, slashing the puzzle lap the race. Renz seems to still hold it, and he keeps ahead into P12, but this is losing him a lot of time, and RJ is now back on as well as Darry goes for another move down into turn 1. Let's see, this should be a move done, you'd suggest. Let's see if Renz can hold it, late on the brakes, and actually collects Darry, and Darry is actually round, and he is back down into 15, 16, 17. Will be behind Bunty now, moving up to crits. AJ Wuhan and Tope are fighting down for turn 3. I think the half got the move done on Tope. Just looks like that. I don't think Tope has any answer there, and AJ Wuhan is in the 5th.
Yeah, very nicely done from AJ Wuhan. I said it, Darry needed to not try and fight it as hard as he could. And I know that's not what Darry likes to do, but he shouldn't have tried to fight it as hard, because, as I said, he's on the fresher tyres. He's going to try and maybe take those inters to the end. It didn't work out for him in the end, as you can see. So he's now down in a, just a dead last position. So, yeah, Darry, I think, just got a bit too audacious with that. Renz, I mean, had every opportunity to try and fight out as much as possible, but yeah, I don't know if there was enough room that was left with that. Evans and Tope trying to maybe go for it into the second to last corner, but Evans thought better of that. However, out of this final corner, is he going to be able to try and go for the move on the Red Bull? Tope has really been struggling through that final corner, and you can already see it. There you go. Evans already going past Tope before coming up in towards turn 1. The Aston Martin moves straight onto the racing line. Very nicely done from Evans. Just a much better exit out of that final corner. Tope really is struggling, and next behind him is championship leader, I think, Killer. I think it's going to absolutely dust Tope going in towards turn number 4. He's not trying to do it separately, I don't think, but yeah, in towards turn 4. Killer was just looking a lot more, just looking a lot quicker in comparison to the Red Bull up in front. And with the other McLaren of Larkin, just still sitting on the back of Rick at the moment, but I don't think we're going to see any sort of move go down as Slasher saw picked up the fastest lap of the race last lap. So yeah, I think Slasher said just racing off into the distance. I wouldn't have expected Slasher to be one of those that are very good in the wet weather, but I mean, he's proven me completely wrong at the moment.
Yeah, it might just be as well, he's just comfortable with this track and manages to push a little bit. And maybe he has the right setup for it as well, who knows. Yeah, he looks to be absolutely astonishing pace at the moment. No one seems to be able to quite match him. And, very impressive to see from the Alpine, who still somewhat in the fight of the championship, but not in the main picture. They need to have some crazy stuff, but it is D2, so Killer is trying to go for a move into turn 1, but thinks better of it. Waits down towards turn 3, maybe he can get a move down here. Both of them D-racing here, Tope and Killer. And Killer is not close enough, he has a little look, but he has to wait, and maybe down towards turn 4, get a better exit here out of 3.
Yeah, I don't think Killer's going to be able to go for a move at all. I think him trying to sort of look up the inside slightly in towards turn 1 has just basically meant that he's had to stay behind the Red Bull for the rest of this lap. So I think Killer probably would think better of that for the next lap, just not try and go side by side with him in towards turn 1. But yeah, I said Tope has been having very bad exit out of that final corner, so I don't blame Killer for trying to maybe go for look for a move going in towards turn 1, but he'd probably just think better of that for the next lap. Rex as well dropping out of that 1 second from Killer called no DRS whilst it is wet weather, as Marcio the second one now to pick up a 3-second time penalty. A bit of an interesting thing that Jaff put in the chat as well is that Ren's picked up a 3-second time penalty whilst being about 5 laps under the safety car and only racing for about 2 or 3 laps. So yeah, I'm not too sure how Ren's ended up doing that within 1 or 2 laps, within 2 to 3 laps, but yeah, very interesting to say the least as well. But yeah, I think the grid's now just starting to filter out whilst it is absolutely pouring it down with the rain. Killer is trying to go for this move on Tope in towards turn 3. I don't think Tope's going to be able to have an answer for that one. Killer breaks very late just to make sure that he maintains that position. Very nicely done from Killer. Move done. Up now, up into P7, and is going to try and chase down Evans out in front. Evans as well doing pretty well in the wet weather because he's catching up to AJ Wuhan after sort of being held up from Tope for quite some time. He has actually caught up to the back of him, so I don't think Evans is really a slouch in the wet either. He could be one we may need to keep our eye out for towards the end of this race because he's looking very quick at the moment.
I'll have to see what Killer can do now in clean air as well. Because obviously he's been stuck behind Tope, and earlier it was someone else. I think it was Evans for a little bit, and then Evans obviously made his way through as well. So see if Killer can catch this. And yeah, Evans, as you said, as a slash, it's another fast lap of the race. Almost has a 4-second gap now. So he is absolutely gone. Ben is pitted. Right, that suggests to me that the Insta are not going all the way.
Yeah, I don't know if... Yeah, I don't think it is going to be... well, I don't think it's going to be the case that they can try and no-stop this. So, yeah, Ben making his way into the pit is the first one to do an actual sort of pit stop, as well as Dari as well. Dari's still on 8-lap-old intermediate tyres. Don't know if he's going to be able to get into the end. I thought there was a slight chance that he could if he can play his cards right. I still think there is a chance he could, but I think Ben might have just sort of worn out his tyres quite a bit, so he's had to make that pit stop. Maybe just go on a fresh set of inters. Could maybe project him out a little bit, maybe go for a bit of an undercut on a few of those as well. But yeah, at the moment, I'm still just trying on board with this battle for P2 between Rick and Larkin. Both just sort of going at it toe-to-toe with each other. And at the moment, Rick is the one that is coming out victorious on the 2 of them. The 2 RT boys of Rex and Resify as well, potentially looking for a little bit of a scrap with those 2 as well. But yeah, I'm going to stick on board with this one here for P2 as another fastest lap has been set, and Nolan's into the pits as well. So again, Nolan also going for a bit of an undercut on those guys out in front. I wonder if it is the case that these lot don't think that they're going to get, or they're going to just go for another set of intermediate tyres, and I don't think, well, they don't think that it could end up drying up or getting any sort of heavier or anything.
I guess that's their a gamble they're taking. It could be very much right, so we'll have to see. I'm surprised it goes so early, given the amount of safety car laps you've had. You surely want to extend a little bit and try and get the advantage there. Because what can happen is the Intis runners have stayed out. Is they can probably go to like lap 22, we'll just say a random number, but roughly around there. Because we've had, well, the first lap 2 to 5 were safety car laps, lap 7 to 9 were safety car laps. I think it's 10 even. So it's like 6-7 safety car laps here already. I mean, if Killer does also, if Larkin actually goes in, wrong McLaren. But yeah, Larkin going into the pits, and he's going to try and undercut Rick. But yeah, very curious that they're going this early, honestly.
Yeah, it's very sort of surprising that they aren't going this early. I think, as I said, Larkin just trying to cover the undercut from Nolan out, down in 16th position. He's only half a second behind Darry. Probably not the person you want to be stuck behind either, so I'm quite surprised that Larkin has come in, because surely he'll come out behind Nolan and behind Darry and behind Marcio, so they're just going to be stuck. He's just going to be stuck behind a few of those other runners out in front. In fact, actually saying that, no, Larkin's in fact come out quite a bit ahead of them, so yeah, no, completely ignore me. However, he's still stuck behind Doom and behind Bunty. Bunty's already made one pit stop. I don't know if he's going to try and take those Inters to the end, and if he does, then fair play to him, but yeah.
Darry and Felipe.
Oh.
Side by side, Felipe going for a move. See if he can make a move. There's a bit of wheel-to-wheel contact on the straight. Felipe not getting the traction out of turn 3, so the other gear let him down there. After right now, the first gear is not the best option, I can tell you that much. See, into turn 4, he dives it, take a lunge. See, Darry just about gives him enough space, but no, not able to get through there, and that's his second 14th, and that is going to hurt him, because AJ and Evans looks like they were sort of on the same pace. If he can't get through here, I mean, as I said, Darry's actually going for Marcio, Bunty going for on June. June, I think, making a mistake. First by in the pits now. All of action here, so June's actually in the pits now. Larkin is freed up a little bit, so he has Bunty ahead. But yeah, Felipe, as he's going for a move down into the final corner, I think he was side by side with Marcio for a little bit. Marcio must have gone alongside him somehow. So yeah, a lot going on there, and I don't think this is helpful for Felipe at all.
No, it certainly hasn't. As I said, I think Nolan's really... that undercut may have just been one lap too early for him, to be honest with you. But yeah, everybody else still out on currently on a set of those intermediate tyres. 18 laps on them from RJ, Killer, Evans, AJ Wuhan, Rick and Slash. I said Larkin hasn't really been hindered. In fact, he's actually gotten past Bunty himself now as well. So yeah, Larkin is just... He's now got 4.5 seconds of clean air, which he can just drive off into with fresh intermediate tyres. So technically, Larkin is our net race leader, and there's still a chance we could be seeing Larkin take his first win for the season as well. I've also just had a bit of an interesting comment in the stream chat from none other than Mr. IRT Rents in 6th position. I don't know how he's managed to do that whilst driving, so but may have potentially gone into AI.
Oh, Bunty.
But
he's ramped out of turn 7, just spun on the traction. I'm just on board with him actually, and yeah, just spun out of that corner and all the way down to 16th. I think he does have some sort of damage. But yeah, continue on.
Yeah, very unfortunate for him as well. And Larkin setting the fastest lap of the race, so it's really going to show that, yeah, those top two, I think, are going to need to maybe think about making a pit stop very, very soon. But yeah, Ren's just saying there was a race with there was one race with a no stop on the Inters in this league. Is China, I believe, was for Division 1 or Division 2. I think that was Division 1 at the end of 2021, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, I do remember that very, very well. I think it was yourself and Campbell that did the same thing. So yeah, I think at the end I do remember that very well with the two of you doing that. But yeah, I mean, you can try and do a no stop around here. Good luck. That's all I'll say. Yeah. Considering what Larkin's doing at the moment on the fresh intermediate tyres. In fact, he's caught up to RJ by about 1.5 seconds in this lap alone.
The difference with the last game is that it was a lot easier to run higher tyre pressures. If we see AJ and Evans both going into the pits as well, it's a lot easier to run the higher tyre pressures, and I think currently if you do that you overheat your tyres enormously. And obviously higher tyre pressures means that you can usually last the tyres a bit longer. So yeah, I think I've seen Doom around, like I said, another fastest lap of the race, and look how far clear he is of AJ and Evans. Of course he was like 2.5 seconds ahead of them. That's now a good 4 or 5 seconds now. So Darry is still in this sort of fight. If he can make it to the end, fair play, but he's obviously going to be a lot slower than these guys around him. We've been able to hold up Felipe for a little bit.
I was going to say,
no stop. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I was going to say the exact
March
same thing, that
too.
he's been able to sort of hold off Nolan like for quite some time, so he's done very well with that. And it looks as if there's going to be 3 wide going in the background for 12th position. Sorry, carry on, yeah?
Yeah, Tope and Marcio side by side, and Rex getting involved himself as well, but I don't think Rex has the sideline speed to actually go for it. Good defensive move by Marcio, actually walking off the American. On the traction, it looks like Rex has a lot more, and Marcio on those older tires is not going to be able to go alongside, although he is trying to, but I think he has not enough downforce to actually make that stick. Does actually seem to maybe have some damage given that cornering right there. His teammate Rick is into the pits and he is trying to cover off Larkin, but I think Larkin is going to be well ahead. I'll have to see about that. Rick just coming out of the pits, Larkin across the finish line. I don't think he's going to be well, but a second or two? Not even, because the pit line is not that long. Yeah, so just see Rick coming out about 2 seconds actually. Behind Larkin, about a second and a half ahead of AJ Wuhan. Let's see if Rick can make this tire deficit up now and see if he can close up. It'll be interesting to see if any of these actually no-stop.
Yeah, I'm quite intrigued if they are able to as well. But yeah, as I said, I mean, yeah, things could be quite interesting going on with this, because I said Rick has also got to try and warm up those tyres. However, he is still catching Larkin despite trying to warm up those tyres as well. So yeah, very interesting to say the least. Larkin is 1.5 seconds behind RJ. Slash, as you say, yeah, coming into the pits now to try and cover off Larkin. And Slash gets a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. So that 6-second buffer he had to Rick is now basically null and void. I mean, it was about a second, it could still technically be about a second up ahead, but it's now null and void that he's picked up that 5-second penalty. So yeah, if there's a safety car now, I mean, so Slash could serve that, but he's then going to be put on the back foot for when everybody else makes their way in. I think Renz and RJ, or Renz in fact, could potentially be side by side with Slash down in towards turn 3. In fact, Renz goes straight over to the right hand side to cover Slash off, but Slash is not going to try and hold that one. He's going to try and immediately go for this move up for P2 on IRT. Renz gets the move done, I believe. I don't think Renz is going to be able to fight that one too much, but on the switchback, is he going to be able to get the better traction in comparison to the Alpine? No, he's not. Slash manages to maintain that P2. Very nicely done from him indeed, as Marcio having a bit of a spin in the background. Darian Nolan both side by side now, and a bit of contact between the pair of them. I think Nolan felt like he probably got shoved off a little bit, but I think it was more Dari's corner and almost collected Darian with him. So a little bit of contact between the pair of them, but Nolan still not being able to find a move on Dari at the moment, and Dari really starting to struggle on these intermediates. You know, he came out in front of AJ Wuhan and Evans. He's now 2.5 seconds behind them.
Yeah, Killer is now coming in, so if anyone wants a no-stop, it's going to be RJ. I could see him doing it, honestly, if there's anyone. I mean, he doesn't have too much to lose, he started last, so yeah, he might fancy his chances, especially with a few penalties around as well. Obviously, with those tires, he's just going to drop a lot of pace, but let's see. He's going to look at the gap. So the gap from Slash to Larkin, which is presumably the fight for the win, is about 4.9. So, you know, both of them will see that and they'll be like, right, we gotta push all out to try and get within that, or get without that in Slash's case. So it'll be very interesting to see who actually has the better pace here, and obviously Slash has the advantage of the fresher tires. Recify, or actually Killer and Daria side by side coming out of the pits. He's joined into this fight with Darian Felipe. Let's see if Killer can actually get through down towards turn number 4. On the inside, let's see, on the brakes, looks to be a lot later, a lot more committed. Dari's still keeping it over on the outside. Can he get the traction on? Still side by side down towards 5 and now 6 into the left-hander. Still side by side. This is a very good race in between both of them. Through down towards 7, little bit of contact. Don't want to touch the curves here too much, but it looks like Killer has got him through in the end, and actually manages to get P8. And I think Felipe will be very pissed off seeing that happen. RJ actually now going into the pits, and given Ren's a statement, I think he will actually try and go towards the end from here.
Yeah, it certainly is. Well, I've actually just been told that apparently it's not the same Renz. Apparently they just used the same username. I thought it was the same Renz, so completely ignore me with that. But he is cheering on the other Renz as well. So yeah, it won't surprise me if we do see IRC Renz try and go for those intermediates to the end. He has actually pitted once, or sorry, pitted twice, because he had to try and fix his front wing under that first safety car, and he's about 2.5 seconds behind Slash after getting overtaken 2 laps ago. So yeah, Renz really is going to struggle to you know, try and hold on to at least a podium, especially with a penalty to his name as well. Rick, 1.5 seconds behind Larkin, who's just been gaining on him ever so slightly each lap. And I feel like we're going to see a reverse of what we've seen in the first half of the race, of it being Larkin chasing down Rick. It's now going to be Rick chasing down Larkin, and if he's able to go for a move on him as well. But at the moment, yeah, Larkin's just doing a very good job. 2.5 seconds now behind Renz. Renz now 3.5 seconds behind Slash. So, in fact, Slash is going for it. And in fact, Nolan's actually gone round. Nolan's gone round out of the exit of turn number 7.
The second stint has not been it for him. He was doing well up in P4 in the first stint, but yeah, not it for it now. He might try and salvage a few points, but that will be about it. He got away without any serious damage. As you said, the gap is now 6.2 from Slash to Larkin, and it does look like Slash is going to just pull away in this one and take the one, despite his 5 second speeding pin, which is very impressive to say the least for the Alpine. Might drag him back into the championship a little bit more. We'll have to see about that in future rounds. Of course, Rick and Killer are still going to score decent points. Rick obviously looking to be on for a podium as long as he gets within the 3 seconds of Renz, which will happen at any moment now. And then Killer is currently in P7. We'll have to see if he can get anything more out of it. Maybe Renz at the end if that decides are falling off a lot, or he can't make it to the end. It does look like a few points is still on for the McLaren as well.
Yeah, certainly is. RJ did make his way into the pits as well, so he's come out down in 14th position as well for the other Williams driver. I said Ren's the only one really who made that pit stop under the first safety car, who we're just waiting for to maybe make his way into the pits. However, it doesn't look as if Larkin's catching him, which is the thing that's interesting to me, because Rick's catching up to Larkin by about 0.3 of a second, and Larkin, he's not catching him. It was about 2.1 the last lap. Again, it's remained about 2.1. That's to say that he's made up 2/10 in that corner alone. But besides that, it was still 2.1 when he came across the line. So I don't know if Larkin just wasn't pushing it or made a couple of mistakes or what, but he wasn't catching him. Now, as I say that, he's now dropped about 5/10 or 5/10 to Renz. So yeah, I mean, I thought Larkin was maybe starting to struggle a bit more, but never mind. I guess he just wasn't. It must have made a couple of mistakes, because he's now 5.5 behind him as Bunty's actually crashed out at turn 1. Is this going to be another safety car? It is another safety car.
Renz is going to be very happy with this one, and Slash is not. That is for certain. These guys are all going to stay out. No surprise. Renz obviously been able to pit now from these almost dead inters. He'll be coming out in a decent position, I reckon. Although there's a lot of cars in behind, but yeah. Slash will be very devastated now, because that 5 seconds is going to cost him, and it puts Larkin in the prime position to actually get the win.
Yeah, no, it certainly does. I think Larkin is definitely on for the win. However, Rick was catching him ever so slightly, so it's a battle between the two wet specialists of Larkin versus Rick to see who comes out on top from the looks of things. Like, unfortunately for Slash, he's driven so well this race, but that 5 second penalty, I mean, I'm quite surprised. I won't be surprised actually if he potentially comes in at the end of this lap just to serve that 5 seconds. It means he'll be back behind quite a few people, but there is a chance that he could maybe only come out behind Killer in 6th position with Wuhan, or with AJ Wuhan, sorry, having a penalty to his name. At least he may try and jump him. I think Slash is coming in.
Yeah, he's coming in. That's an interesting call. See if it works, because he's going to obviously be in the freshest tires. He has the best pace by far. If he's going to be able to get that through, a very good call by the Alpine here. Have to see, because obviously 5 seconds will be served. Larkin won here at the race late, ahead of Rick, AJ and Evans, and Killer will I think jump him, but I think Ben Jess is too far off to actually jump Slash. Slash is, although the 5 seconds will obviously hold him up a little bit, so maybe a bit closer, but I think Slash is going to be coming out in 6th place, just about. Then coming across the finish line, he's trying, he's engaging the ERS, but I think the Alpine is just about ahead coming out of the pits. That was actually very, very close. They're side by side.
Yeah.
I think, yeah, Ben tried, but he had to give way for the Alpine, and Slash is ahead in 6th. So it's a case for him to actually try and make up as many positions as he can. And hopefully get back up to the front of the field. I don't think he's out of it.
Yeah, no, he's definitely not out of it for sure. As I said, he's going to be obviously back up behind Killer, behind Evans. AJ Wuhan, as I said, got the penalty to his name. Larkin's going to have to dead his tyres out of the top 6.
I see Sauce.
Oh!
Hang on, I just sorry to interrupt you. Sauce for June. Either that's a big mistake that he's just picked the wrong tyre, or the game put him on the wrong tyre, or there is potentially being told that it's going to be dry soon.
I feel like June might have gone for something wrong here. Just got a feeling.
Like it is. Yeah. You never know with this game; it can switch any moment. But I think this is maybe a bit too much. Good measure. I hope to be proven wrong, because that would spice up it even more. But well, I rate the effort if he's actually tried this, and if he's just tried to go on fresh intus, then I'm sorry for him, because he's obviously not meant that. We'll have to see what he does at the end of this lap. But he's not even able to catch the safety car as of right now.
Yeah, he's not even coming in either, so yeah, June's going to try it on the set of the softs. I can't lie you. I'm expecting a bowling alley down in towards turn 3. June's going to really struggle to brake for in those soft tyres whilst it's still raining. If he makes this work, then fair play to him, but I can't see it working.
He's currently not even catching the safety car. The gap is staying about 4, but he's only turn 3. Congested a little bit, but he's only caught about 2 seconds during the lap. I don't know. This is a very weird call. I rate it. Can't lie. It's a very interesting call. Maybe it is becoming dry. Who knows? We'll have to see. It could switch any moment. We're not going to come in this lap, so we're going to have about 5 laps of racing to go, and that's a slight bit of time for Slash to actually make a position. So I don't think he's very happy with that. Marcio is still trying to catch as well behind. Although I don't know how much Marcio was pushing, obviously. I've not watched him too much, but the gap only came down by about a second this lap. Who knows? Who knows? I'll have to see.
Yeah, I really don't know how this is going to go down. I don't know if June's made an absolute mistake of a call or if he's made an absolute blissful call, but we're going to have 5 laps left of racing. Larkin's going to take us through that safety car restart when it does come in at the end of this lap. For the 3rd time for tonight, it'll be Larkin's first time under the safety car restart. Now he'll be taking us through it. Rick, for the 3rd time, got to try and read the person out in front of him, and if he's able to see when they're going to go. I don't know how this is really going to go down, to be honest with you. I think Larkin and Rick, it's definitely between those two as to who's going to win it for tonight. Slash, though, as I said, you can't rule him out for not getting on the podium. There is still a high chance that the Relentless driver could be on that podium for tonight as well. Safety car is going to come in at the end of this lap. As I said, Renz has dropped back quite a bit from Resify. Not sure what the reason was for that, but yeah, so we'll see how Larkin's going to be able to do on this safety car restart, if June's going to be able to actually do anything on those soft compound tyre, or if that was the biggest mistake he possibly could have done. Either way, it looks like the rain is starting to ease up slightly, but I don't think it's going to be enough for a set of dry tyres. So let's see, when's Larkin going to go? Is he going to go at the same spot as Slash? Is he going to go a bit later? It's looking like he's going to go a bit later, maybe after the second to last corner. Is he going to opt to go now, maybe? No, he's not. He's in fact gone now. So Larkin has now gone, and we'll see. Has Rick been able to read him? He's read him like an absolute book, and AJ Wuhan has also followed suit. In fact, AJ Wuhan might be going for a move on Rick down towards turn number 1. They're both using their ERS to try and stay up ahead of each other, and it's looking like AJ Wuhan's going to have to stay behind him for now. But those top 4 are all getting their race on, and let's have a little bit of a wobble from AJ Wuhan, and I don't think he's going to be able to go for a move, as that's Renz out of the race, out of turn number 1. I don't think there's going to be another safety car, but Rick going to be able to hold on that position up ahead of AJ Wuhan. I think the good thing for Larkin is that because of Wuhan trying to get it past, it means Rick's going to have to go defensive, and it means that it's more time that he can gain up ahead of the Ferrari behind him. But yeah, June has actually gotten back past Marcio, interestingly enough. on no soft compound tyre.
He's not doing too bad. It's definitely not ideal. Definitely in the braking zones, he seems to be losing out quite a bit. He's in very high gears to try and get the traction down. He's still ahead of Marcio, and he's keeping side by side. If it actually does end up drying up in the next few laps, he could have played a masterful call. We'll have to see about that though, if this is actually the case or not. But if it stays these conditions, then he's obviously not going to be able to do much more than he is already. The braveness of the call though. Top 6 have gotten away a little bit. Slash not been able to make any sort of moves, but all of these guys have drained quite a bit of their ERS considering it's 1 lap only. See if Rick can try and challenge Larkin, and Larkin seems to have Fury exit out of turn 1s. Slash is actually going to be alongside Killer very soon. I think he's going to try and make a move down towards turn 3, down the inside. Forcing Killer alongside. He's actually hit Evans into the braking zone there, chopped off his wing. Lucky to not be in a casualty, but it's just way too eager on the brakes there, and unfortunately, he's not really been able to pull out. I think he might have gone away without damage. I'm not too sure, but it doesn't look too great for him.
Yeah, it certainly isn't. I think there might be a penalty coming for Slash's way after this race as well. Finally, by the way, Nolan has managed to get past Dari despite it being after a safety car. However, I think they are both still side by side of each other. Dari's going to try and hold it down the inside. Nolan going to hold it around the outside into turn 5. Dari's going to have the inside for turn number 6, but Nolan will have the inside for turn 7. He's going to be able to hold it. No, he's not. Dari gets the move done, and Nolan goes across the curb and picks up a 30-second time penalty of his own as well. So it might not even be on for points for tonight. Is the relentless driver. Very unfortunate for him, but back towards the front end of the field, Rick's still trying to chase down Larkin with 3 more laps left to go. As I said, there isn't going to be any DRS because of it still being wet weather, as Marcio picks up a 3-second time penalty. June, by the way, has held up ahead of him at the moment, and he's actually caught up slightly to the back of RJ. So I wonder, is it getting close to that crossover point? I don't think it's going to be I don't think he's going to be able to do anything at all, as Nolan trying to go for this move on Dari once again up in towards turn number 3. Nolan's going to try and go around the outside, but I think broke a bit too late. Dari just managed to get that move done very easily and keep that position up ahead of the AlphaTauri, but I don't think it's going to be dry enough for Doom to be able to start making up a few moves, especially with the penalties that he's got to his name as well. And even then, the Inters aren't even that bad of a tyre in dry conditions anyway, so for this year's game. So yeah, I don't expect June to be making up any more positions. I think P14 might be the best he's going to get. Could potentially still get points though. I don't know if he's picked up just more than 1 3-second time penalty, but he's just got to hope that a few other people have got him behind him as well. So yeah, he's only got the 3 seconds, so yeah, there's still a chance that if anybody else in front of him picks up maybe another penalty or anything like that, there's still a slight chance he could pick up a race win for tonight. But I'm watching on board of Resify as well, just hanging on to the back of Ben JS up in front of him. I don't think Ben JS has only got 3 seconds. Yeah, he's only got 3 seconds of penalties to his name as well. So Resify really needs to try and go for this move on the QVR driver. Just looking like Ben's very quick in a straight line in comparison to the IRT driver, and you can see Resify just burning his ERS, but Ben's also doing the same to stay up ahead of them. And yeah, Resify's not going to be able to go for any sort of move in towards turn 3 on Ben JS. Ben just doing a very good job with, we know what Ben's like with usually with his wings. He usually likes to go very low wings to make sure that he stays up ahead on a straight, and I suppose whilst it's in the wet, it's not exactly a bad idea whatsoever. Just going to be a bit hindered within the corners. As you can see, he's about 1.5 seconds behind Killer up in front, but at the moment everything has just sort of remained suit. Larkin is looking like he could be taking his first race win for the season. Only a lap and a half left to go here.
Yeah, it does look like he has the advantage here. Rick has been burning a lot of his ERS to try and get any sort of move done. Evans is looking close, AJ1 as well, Nion. But yeah, Rick on 20% ERS out of the last corner, and as AJ1 has actually spun it out of the final corner and it's into the wall, damage, and that will at least help June to try and get some points, I guess. Yes, I was going to say, Rick looks like he is on the back foot here. Larkin still with a lot of ERS to burn in the final lap. It's going to be very difficult to see Rick getting past. It requires a mistake from Larkin, I reckon.
Yeah, definitely needs a mistake from Larkin. So we're on to the final lap of the race, and there's that mistake from Larkin, a little bit squabbly out of turn number 3. Rick is going to try and see if he can get a better he got the better traction out of that corner, but Larkin has a lot more ERS to play with, and it was never really going to be a threat from him for turn number 4. Nolan trying to go for a move on Rex in towards turn 4 as well, and I think Nolan's going to hold it down the inside of the American. A little bit of contact between the pair of them. Who gets the better traction of the two, though? It is Nolan that gets back on the power. So I thought he may have been out of the points, but it looks as if he's still going to be able to pick up at least a couple of points to his name. But Larkin is looking like he's going to take the race win for this evening. Just 2 more corners left to go for the McLaren. He hasn't taken a race win at all for this season. He's managed to get on the podium twice before. All it took was 1 wet race for him to be out on top. Larkin comes across the line to take the win for this evening. Rick finishes in 2nd. Evans picking up the final podium position and the fastest lap of the race as well. Ben drops down into 8th. Slash finishes in 4th. Got up ahead of Killer in the end. Killer 5th. Darry in 6th. So Killer will remain up in the championship leader. So he had a race win up ahead anyway. But very good points for both of the McLarens, and I think both them and AlphaTauri are in a fight for the championship as well. But very, very good race, especially for a wet race as well. I suppose that safety car kind of helped it, but it was a very tight race towards the end there. Rick looked like he had an opportunity of going for a move, but just too much ERS burnt out on trying to get past the McLaren. And it's this man on your screen right here that managed to come out on top of that one. Larkin takes the win for this evening. Rick takes 2nd, and Evans takes that final podium position. What a race that was, to say the least. Yeah, I said a very entertaining wet race for sure.
Yeah, definitely. I have to say, a few safety cars for Spanish in the works for mainly Slash and also some other drivers. But yeah, Larkin taking ahead of Rick. Evans getting the fast lap in the final lap. Decent podium for him as well. Slash Killer. Darry, decent recovery after a few mistakes here and there, and pitting early-ish, getting into 6th. Tope in 7th, just in behind. Ben in 8th. RJ in 9th, and Recify in 10th. Felipe in 11th. Rex in 12th. Jim outside the points, tried to go on the softs, didn't quite work, but I do rate the call and the bravery. I hope that it would work. AJ Wuhan in 14th, Marcia in 15th with a lot of penalties. Then Renz, Bunty, Timon, and Brent all not finishing.
Yeah, a lot less DNS than what I was expecting as well, but a very good race for sure. I said, yeah, with Jim, I was hoping they'd be able to try and at least get into the points with that, but starting on pole and dropping down into 13th, not a very good sign from the Spaniard indeed. But yeah, Larkin finally back on the top step for this season. Rick in 2nd, closing up that gap to Killer a bit more now. I think Killer is scoring 10 points and Rick scoring 18, so at least 8 points he's made up on him, which I think brings that back just over the threshold, of 1 race win, if I'm not mistaken. I think in fact that goes to, I'm just trying to calculate that, 26.
Exactly.
Dead on.
Yeah, so dead on, a race win and a fastest lap difference. Of course, there's still 4 rounds to go, so I'm just adding these guys in to hopefully get some interviews and hear from these guys as well.
Certainly will. So yeah, I said very good race to say the least. I'm intrigued to see if we're, as you said, going to see a few of these guys make their way into the party. And of course, we'll be joined by our 2nd place finisher and 2nd place in the championship. In fact, gapping that a bit more up ahead is Mr. Rick. Rick, what a race that was from yourself. So narrowly close to getting Larkin at the end there, but just the ERS unfortunately wasn't there for yourself. How was that race for you this evening?
It was fun, and I'm happy that Larkin finally got his win for the season. But I noticed I didn't have the straight line speed. After quali, I think I put too much front wing for the wet weather, and I was very good in the corners. But yeah, no chance I was overtaking anybody, and I had to use so much ERS just to have a chance for an attack. But yeah, it was a fun race. We got lucky. Slash got a penalty and he pitted, but then it was just about holding on ahead of AJ, and then he made a mistake. So fun race.
Definitely, like it was a fun race indeed. I said it was just you versus Larkin for pretty much the entirety of that. Obviously, with Slash just sort of going off into the distance on his own, and then unfortunately picking up that 5 second penalty for him, just sort of hindered the rest of that for himself as well. Was there any sort of thing, or was you having maybe a thought that you might just try and stay out for the entirety of the race, like try and do a no stop? Because I saw a lot of people pit relatively early, but I saw a few other people stay out for about 25 laps on those intermediates.
Um, I wanted to go a bit longer, but then I think I was already like 4 laps late on Larking's pit stop, so I had to pit because then AJ pitted behind me, and he was only like 2.5 or something behind me, so I needed to stay ahead of him. But I was waiting for safety car, VSC, whatever, or just to see how it happens. I was watching Larkin's the mini map, and I guess he was behind Bunty or somebody, Aston Martin, and I was hoping that he loses time there, but yeah, no, he was making fastest laps, and then I had to pit.
Yeah, no, that's fair enough. As I said, it was to be expected that that undercut would definitely be a bit more powerful. Just didn't expect it to be that much more powerful. So, yeah, like I said, it was a very good race from the pair of you indeed. We've of course got Great Week next week, and then we're back over at Spain. You've started to close that gap up to Killer. As I said, it's now dead on one race win plus fastest lap behind Killer. You still quite hopeful for this championship? As I said, it really just takes one mistake from Killer, but it also takes a mistake from yourself. Are you hoping that you're going to try and succeed it within this championship?
Yeah, definitely. The last 4 races are all tracks that I really like. Abu Dhabi is a bit of an unknown, and with the sprint race, anything can happen. But Saudi, Spain, and Brazil, I really like those. So, yeah, looking forward to them.
Certainly will. Yeah, any questions for Rick at all for tonight?
Honestly, not quite. It was a very entertaining race, but obviously having, not too much of an opportunity to overtake and whatever. And you said that was due to the downforce level you were running. It didn't really cause for any particular moments I want to point out. So, congratulations, but don't really have any questions.
Fair enough, fair enough. Well, we'll move on to our race winner for tonight, Larkin. I mean, as soon as I saw it was a wet weather, I said it was definitely going to be between you and Rick. And it turns out it was between you and Rick for that entire race, but that looked like a very fun one between the pair of you. How was that race for you?
It was good. If I'm not mistaken, my previous most recent win in LOE was about 46 races ago. The last race of season 5, when it was that sort of awkward weather in Brazil at the end of that season. So it's been a long time since I've actually won a race. I've had a decent amount of podiums, but it feels really good to be up on the top step, and I think it's pretty fitting that it was in the wet weather again.
Yeah, no, again, and as I said to, just whilst we were going through in qualifying, we knew it was going to be a wet race. It was like, yeah, it's definitely going to be between Rick and Larkin, as said, for certain. But yeah, you two both put on a very good show for wet weather conditions as well in that first stage. I asked the same thing as what I did to Rick. Was there any sort of, was you maybe thinking to try and stay out as long as possible, or was it the case that when you saw Nolan make that pit stop, you thought that you needed to try and cover him as quickly as possible because there was a chance he could undercut you?
Yeah, I think it was a mixture of those two things. I was really worried at the start because the tyre wear on the initial couple of laps was really high, and I didn't even know if one stop was going to make it, essentially. But then a couple of safety cars came out, at which point you're like, do you pit early, take the undercut and risk a safety car screwing you over, or do you go long and just accept that some people are gonna undercut you? And like you say, Nolan basically made that decision for me because he was pretty close up behind us. I think he was like a second and a half behind when he pitted. So I knew that I didn't really want to end up behind him because it would be a nightmare to try and get past him. So I had to pit and try and close that off. I don't know if he changed his wing in the pit or just got stuck behind people or something, but I ended up coming out way ahead of him. And luckily no safety car came out until later in the race, and it ended up being the right time to have pit.
Yeah, no, definitely like it was the right time for certain as well. So I know we've got a break week next week, and I'm sure you and me are going to be playing a lot of COD for that, but I don't think there's going to be a lot of Spain practice going on. But are you going to try and do your best to, because I think you might be close to being out of the championship fight, even if you're thinking that you may not be in it anyway. But yeah, I think you're very close to being out of that championship fight, but are you hoping to try and help Killer out, try and just at least get the constructors for the both of you?
Yeah, I think so. I think constructors is fairly comfortable at this moment in time, so hopefully we'll get that one. I'll do what I can to help Killer get his title. Spain's a pretty good track for me historically, so fingers crossed it can go well there. Like you say, I'm not going to do much practice beforehand. This first time I've been on the game in a couple of weeks because I've been away, but hopefully I can carry this form forward, recapture some of my old Spain form, and try and put in a good performance.
Certainly will, certainly will. I'd say congratulations to you again for this evening. Yeah, any questions for our race winner tonight?
Well, congratulations on the win. I'm definitely not being held to gunpoint to say that. I want to just maybe ask towards the very beginning of the evening and more the mixed reactions that might have been down in the party at the McLaren garage. How was that feeling? Because I feel like if you see it's wet, you're going to be jumping up your seat.
Yeah, it was fairly mixed. I was very happy, of course. We haven't had basically any wet weather so far this whole season, which has been a shame. Killer, he wasn't annoyed about it. He knew his pace wasn't brilliant around Austria. He's not done loads of practice, and he knew that some other people had done quite a lot of practice. He was aiming just to get like a decent amount of points, which he ended up doing. I think he came 5th, which is good. But yeah, it's just nice to see like the wet weather allows different people to sort of show their pace and do well. Rick was obviously really, really fast today. Either one of us could have won that race, so it's good to see him P2. And Evans Joshua, he's had a pretty torrid season in terms of luck, so for him to finally get the podium that he deserves as well is really, really nice.
Full
Fair
PR
enough.
on us, Larkin. Full PR. Fair enough, though. Fair enough. Yeah, no, as I said, it was a good race from yourself indeed. Congratulations once again for the win for this evening. And of course, as you were saying, we'll move on to our third place finisher. Evans, the first time on the podium for yourself this season, finally making your way on here. It seemed like it was quite a quiet race for yourself up until you caught up to the back of Tope. I mean, like once you got past him, to be fair, you looked like you was matching the pace of both Rick and Larkin throughout that race. But how was that for you? Because that looked like that was a bit gruesome in the midfield.
Yeah, I was doing alright. I had a good start. Only qualified P11. I won too fast. Thought I'd just have a bit of a fun race as long as I was in pin middle of it. So I just wanted to not get fucking hit. But I did alright. Got through the first few laps. There was a bit of a moment in like turn 7 where two cars were like tangled together and I had to dodge out of them quickly, which was a bit of a scare. But after that, I think it was the McLaren Killer was behind me. He had a few moments where he sent a dive on me and I managed to defend it and it was alright. Sorry, a bit tired. It was alright. Yeah, it was good. It was good fun. I had no warnings through the race, so I wasn't too worried about any penalties at the end. Yeah, I haven't, like Larkin said, cheers to him, but yeah, I've had a bit of bad luck throughout the season with just like random crashes and just getting collected from incidents ahead of me that's got nothing to do with me. So it was nice to finally get a race without having any incidents. I had a close call with Jacob spinning. I had to have a little bit of a lift just to make sure he didn't spin on his centre line and then have me go into the back of him, but it was alright. I was a bit too worried about Slash on the fresh tyres behind to worry about the win, so I just didn't want to get greedy. Just stuck with Jacob's pace as long as it didn't mean Slash could get to the back of me. And then when Jacob did spin, I was kind of released a bit and had a bit of breathing space and clean air just to make sure I stick with the P3. From P11, P3 is perfect, and there's no reason to get any more greedy than risk a spin with all the tyres.
Yeah, I was just I'll ask about that with Slash, like, because I know that when you'd seen him pit, you probably thought, oh, okay, this is an opportunity for a podium. And then as soon as AJ spun right in front of you, it was it was very close to say the least. But you managed to hold on with that in the end. So once again, congratulations with that.
Cheers,
I know,
mate.
as I said, you've been a bit unlucky sort of throughout the season. I think the previous highest place that you finished was at Silverstone in, I think it was P8 with the fastest lap, or P7, sorry. So
That was a while ago.
Yeah, it was a while ago. Obviously, as I said, it's in a break week for next week as well, and then we've got Spain after that. Are you hoping to try and maybe have a bit more of a redemption for, and maybe try and get yourself back on the podium again for next week as well?
See what happens. I'm alright at Spain.
Nice, short and sweet answer. Fair enough, fair enough. Yeah, any questions for Evans still for tonight?
Mostly, did you think if you started higher up, I don't know how your quali pace was, if you felt like there was more in there, but if you maybe have started a bit further up, would you have had a shot at the win, do you think?
Yeah, I definitely could have. I'll be honest, I've had a massive migraine today. I was going to pull out, but I realised you get like a stupid amount of penalty points. So I thought, sod it, I may as well just take C and have a go. Yeah, it was alright. Quali pace was a bit crap. I didn't put much time into practicing. I just got in a lobby with Jacob to help him practice while I was, I think I was having pasta. So did that and then just got on with it. Yeah, probably would have had a chance, but I think on a better day, it could come a bit easier. Yeah.
Fair enough, fair enough.
Given the circumstance.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Given the circumstances, well done.
Yeah, definitely well done indeed. And I think we can safely say that we need more drivers like that decide that, to not try and show up very, very late towards, or letting us know very, very late, as certain German did earlier on today. But we'll move past that anyway. Yeah, any sort of closing thoughts for tonight's race at all?
Surprisingly entertaining race, given it was wet. So, yeah, not too many, dodgy racecrafting or whatever. So, yeah, it was entertaining to watch.
Certainly was an entertaining watch indeed. Well, as I said, everyone, we have got break week next week, but on the 5th of November, we will be back. I believe it's the 5th of November anyway. I will just have a double check with that. Yeah, 5th of November, we will be back for 14 around the Circuit de Catalunya for around Spain, shall I say, Division 1 and Division 3 at 6:30 p.m. I believe it will actually be back to GMT for that one. So Division 1 covered by James Head and QVR Killer, and Division 3 covered by Jess and Evil Dragon, and then Division 2 and Division 4 at 8:10 p.m. GMT. Division 2 covered, of course, by myself and QVR Verstappen, and Division 4 covered by QVR Packer and Maverick. Again, I feel like he might have made a bit of a redemption arc with Maverick, so don't know what is going on with those two in Division 4, but hopefully we'll see the both of them in together for round number 14. Thanks to everybody that has tuned in for tonight, and as I said, we'll catch you guys next week, or catch you guys in 2 weeks' time for round number 14 around the Spanish circuit.